What up, what up, what up, what up? Everybody across the world, what's up, y'all? What we doing? How y'all doing? I ain't been here in 3 days, but all's well ends well. I want to thank everybody that's watching for the first time, and I want to thank everybody that's coming back, supporting me all the time. So, my name is Philly Will. This is the Philly Will Spill. I'm the person that's going to give you sports, entertainment, and real life issues without any gimmick like the TV and radio people that we hear and see every day. First things first, please like and subscribe. Try to do the best I can with this channel, but I need all the support that I get from you guys and ladies and women and children, whoever, every single day. So please like and subscribe. We are now at 500 subscribers. All right, so we got 3 topics today. It's going to be nothing more than what some of you guys have already seen over the weekend: the NFL wild card outcome, the college football playoff outcome, and then we're going to cover the Jay-Z update on his allegations. We're going to give you an update on the Jay-Z case with the latest allegations and motions and stuff filed. So, without further ado, let's go into the NFL wild card thus far. Still got 1 game left tonight. Might I add, we got to be watching, and Philadelphia will be watching deep tonight. The Rams and the Minnesota Vikings play tonight in Phoenix, and it did sell out, even with the inconvenience of the tragic LA fires. It did sell out in Arizona, Phoenix, so we're gonna have a good game tonight, as far as fans in the stands and noise in the stadium. All right, so we're gonna go over the games that already been played. Let's get it. So, first things first, the first game was the Chargers versus the Texans. So the score was 32-12. Texans won 32-12. The Chargers lost. They only scored 12 points. So, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to get into these games and tell y'all that why the losing team lost, and I can tell you why the winning team can lose in the next round, or could, just why they could lose. But Justin Herbert was 14-32, 242, 1 TD, 4 interceptions. J.K. Dobbins only had 26 yards. Ladd McConkey did go off. He went off. He had 9 receptions for 197 yards. He averaged 21.9 yards, and he had 1 touchdown. Nobody else was worth talking about on the receiving end of that game. On the Texas side of things, C.J. Stroud he was 22-33, 282, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Joe Mixon had 106 yards. I want y'all to hear every time I say certain things. Rushing, he had 106 yards with 1 TD. Other side of the ball had 26 yards. Receiving wise, Nico Collins did his thing, 122. You always can count on Nico. 7 receptions, 1 TD. And the rest of the people had like 1 to 4 catches for like 34, 28, 28, 23 yards. So the biggest thing with this game was nothing more than the turnover. So if you watch the NFL and you watch it more than just supporting your home team, I just want to get this right. Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers philosophized their offense this year on basically running the ball, and it caught up with him in the NFL. Herbert did throw, but he didn't throw like that this year. I think when I did his math, he only averaged like 1.2 touchdowns a game out of 17 games, and that's low. So when you get to the playoffs, the method to winning the game is rushing. J.K. Dobbins only had 26 yards. And the method of the game is good defense. You gave up 32 points. You're going to lose like that every time. But to put the team into a better future next year, Jim Harbaugh and Justin Herbert need to work on reading coverage, need to work on throwing the ball, need to work on hot reads, and everything when it comes to throwing, because Herbert has been known, even before Jim, to throw them interceptions, the bonehead throws. So he just need whatever his inefficiency is. Jim needs to work with him and figure it out, because he knew this whole season, because the way he was calling the offense was basically run first, run, and only throw it if we got to throw it. Sort of like almost like Michigan was. He ran the offense almost like if it was Michigan. And it's not going to work in NFL when you got pros amongst pros. So that's why the Chargers lost. Now, how the Texans can lose in the next round because they face the Kansas City Chiefs, that same 32 points that you put up, you better put it up again against the Chiefs because you're going to need it. And C.J. Stroud threw for 282 and he had one TD, one interception. You cannot beat the Chiefs turning the ball over. The Chiefs averaged almost 5 minutes every single possession. So it goes from 5 to 8 minutes of possession. They take over quarters. When you get the ball, you have to put points up and you have to create turnovers. You can't beat the Chiefs if you don't get 2 turnovers from them. You can't turn the ball over and you need 2 turnovers from them. It's the only way you're going to beat the Chiefs. So, Nico Collins, D'Amico Ryan, C.J. Stroud, Joe Mixon. You better do it again. But I will give you guys an applaud. That was a good game. It was not expected. You guys were an underdog. You did your thing. Next game. We have the, I don't know why I was doing it. It jumped a little bit. Give me 1 second. We had on Saturday the Steelers and the Ravens. I picked this as my upset. I picked the Chargers in the first game. I picked this as my upset. Yep, I picked this as my upset. So I was 0 for 2 on Saturday out the gates. But the score was 28-14. The Ravens won. In that game, you had the Steelers. Russell Wilson he was 20 for 29, which is fairly good. 270 yards, 2 TDs, no interception. So he played fairly well. Let me see. Najee Harris only had 17 yards rushing. That's all he had was 17 yards. In the passing game, George Pickens had 5 for 87 with 1 touchdown. He did all right. It was a couple of good plays he could have got more out of, but he did all right. And then they had the rest of the receiving yards for 41 yards, 37 yards, 37 yards. Najee Harris, Van Jefferson, and Mike Williams. So that was that side of the ball. Let's go to the winning side of the ball. Playoff time. Remember what I tell y'all. Lamar Jackson, 16 for 21, 175, 2 TDs, right? Wasn't spectacular, but still did his thing on the throwing side of the ball. Derrick Henry, rushing, playoffs, 186 yards and 2 touchdowns. 186 yards and 2 touchdowns. Derrick Henry did his thing. Y'all see that one play where he blew past them and they say he was at 20 miles per hour? Derrick Henry did his job. So what I said in probably episode, could have been like anywhere from 5 to 9 on what John Harbaugh and the Ravens going to have to do if they're going to win the game, they stuck to the strategy. He had 26 carries. I said anywhere from 18 to 25 carries. He had 26. That's how you win games. You run that ball and you have good defense. As far as the defense side of it, the Steelers punted the ball 5 times. The Ravens punted the ball 4 times. There were no fumbles lost. There were no interceptions thrown. It was just the tale of the better offense in this game. So the reason why the Pittsburgh Steelers lost, let me see something real quick. I like to see time of possession also. Time of possession was 20 minutes and 27 seconds on the Steelers side, 39 minutes and 33 seconds on the Ravens side. Possession of the ball. If you got Derrick Henry giving you 186 yards and 26 carries, they're keeping the ball away from you, which means we're scoring. We got the ball. You can't do nothing with it. And then you punt it one more time than we did. That's why they lost. So that's the tell of that game. The way the Ravens could lose the next game against the Buffalo Bills is if they don't repeat the same process. Don't turn it over. Run the ball. Throw it when needed. Lamar Jackson, you run the ball also. Good game for them on the Baltimore Ravens. Okay, now we have going into Sunday. First game, Broncos and the Buffalo Bills. It really ain't too much to talk about with this game, but I'm going to still go back through it. I'm just going to cover the Buffalo Bills side of it because the Broncos was a no-call, no-show. So the Bills, Josh Allen was 20 for 26, 272 yards, 2 TDs. James Cook, playoffs, rushing. He had 23 carries for 120 yards. He averaged 5.2 and he had 1 TD. On the receiving side of it, he spread the ball out. He feathered it out. Everybody averaged about 25 yards. That's one, two, three, four, 6 people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people, receivers average 25 yards. Curtis Samuel, Shakir, Dalton Kincaid, Dawson Knox, Ty Johnson. They all averaged 25 yards. He spread the ball out, threw the first down we needed. They came in there, if you watch that game, and they said, we're going to run it. We know Denver got some good sackers. They lead the league in sacking. They DNs got 23 sacks collectively together, and they cover on the back end. So what we're going to do, we're going to run the ball. We're going to run the ball on first down. We're going to run the ball on second down. And if we are 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, and we get in the shotgun, we're going to run it with Josh Allen. And that's what they did. And I don't know why I forgot the black defensive coordinator name. I want to say it's Van something. I don't know why he didn't see that. Stop even covering the pass. Stop, bring them down. Put 5 on the line. What are you doing? They killed you. They ran the ball on 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Anything 3rd and 4th. They killed you. Even a blind man can see that. No offense to the blind community. But come on, man. And then Sean Payton. You over there looking like you need to retire, like you need to be in a wheelchair, face beat up from the cold, looking crazy, going through that play sheet that is this big, play sheet taller than you. What that play sheet do on offense? Nothing. Nothing. Bo Nix is a nice quarterback. Come on, Sean Payton. I don't know what y'all got. Well, you need some better wide receivers. You need some better wide receivers. You definitely need that. And another thing, too, I understand the running back committee. Dog, why are you taking 4 different running backs out the game? Well, 3 different running backs out the game. Nobody going to get a feel for that, man. At least keep them in there a drive. You rotating them like they DNs. Dude, let them get a feel. As a running back, you know what I'm saying? You want to feel what's going on. I can't get no feel if every time you taking me out. So, that's why they lost. Buffalo Bills. How they can lose against the Baltimore Ravens if they don't repeat the same process. If they don't repeat the same process. I don't think they turned the ball over at all. For a matter of fact, I know they didn't turn the ball over. Time of possession was 41 minutes on the Bills. The Broncos had 18 minutes. The Broncos punted the ball. The Bills punted the ball 1 time. The Broncos punted the ball 4 times. They both were sacked twice apiece, so that was a wash. And it was just a tale of, on 3rd down, Broncos was 2 for 9. On 3rd down, the Bills were 8 for 15, but on 4th down, it was 2 for 2. So really, that was 10 for 15 throughout them drives. So that's the tell of that game. It was a rout, nothing more than a rout. Sean Payton, man, I expect more out of you. Put it together. Don't let me come to the thinking that Drew Brees was carrying you. Don't let me come to that, because you are a good coach. You're a good coach. You know how to coach them offensive schemes, and you typically carry a good defensive coordinator. From Bounty Gate and all that, which that was some BS. But come on, man, step your game up. Don't let me think that Drew Brees carried you. Next game, we're going to 4:30 game. Eagles versus the Green. Nah, we're gonna do that last. Let's cover the Commanders and the Buccaneers. All right, Commanders and the Buccaneers. This was a good game last night. So everybody went to sleep because they had to start back work. For those who've been off work for Christmas break, you're going back now, all the plants and everything. It was kind of quiet at night, so I figured everybody was going to sleep. But this was a good game. Jaden Daniels, I told y'all, I've been telling y'all, when we lost to him, when he beat a lot of teams, man, he liked that. He liked that, man. He one of the best rookies I've ever seen. RG3 and Russell Wilson was some good ones. RG3 more than Russell because he had to do more. Russell had the Legion of Boom, so he didn't have to do them besides hand it to Marshawn Lynch, throw it to Tyler Lockett here and there, and the rest was done by the defense and Marshawn. So going into the game, the Buccaneers, 15 for 18, Baker Mayfield, 185 yards, 2 TDs. He didn't throw any interceptions. Bucky Irvin had 77 yards, and Baker Mayfield had another 23 yards, so that's 100 even. No touchdowns rushing. Mike Evans had 92 yards. He averaged 13.1 with 1 touchdown. And then after that, you have McMillan for 41 and Kay Otten for 32. So a decent job. And then on the other side of the ball, it ain't going to be too much more spectacular. But Jaden Daniels was 24 for 35, 268 yards, 2 touchdowns. Rushing-wise, they didn't do the greatest in rushing, but they scraped it up together collectively through all of them. Jaden Daniels, 36 yards. Austin Eckler, 27 yards. Brian Robinson, 16 yards. So they kind of scrambled it up for about what? That's 70-something, almost 80-something yards. So it was 20-something yards behind the Buccaneers. Receiving-wise, you had Terry McLaurin, 89 yards, a touchdown. Donnie Brown, that's who really put on yesterday. He showed up big time. 89 yards, 1 touchdown. And you had 26 yards from Austin Eckler, 23 yards from Zach Ertz, 22 yards from Robinson. So, on this game, it was a back-and-forth game. It started, you had Buccaneers only punted twice. The Washington Commanders punted 5 times. The Buccaneers had 7 penalties for 65 yards. The Commanders had 5 for 39 yards. And time of possession was Washington had it for 35 minutes, 26 seconds. Buccaneers had it 24 minutes, 34 seconds. And like I said, rushing was 101 to 82. It just was one of those games where, also the story is the Buccaneers had a fumble loss. They lost the fumble, so they turned the ball over. That's the tale of the game. You can't turn the ball over. The better defense and the better rushing. Buccaneers had the better rushing. They basically had the game, but you turned the ball over. You fumbled. You can't do that. You're going to lose. That's why I was 23-20. That's exactly why I was 23-20. You're trying to look in there and find out why they won. You turned the ball over. So, now, how Washington can lose in the next round, you got to play better than that against the Lions. You got to play better than that against the Lions. And the Lions, for the record, have issues with mobile quarterbacks. So, Jaden, you are the mobile quarterback of this year. Get busy. But you got to do better than that. Because the Lions going to be coming. And they're going to be putting up points. Their defense is, their offense right now, number 1, and then the defense, number 2. So, get ready. Tampa Bay, you lost because of the fumble loss. Let's go to the next game. Then we need to move on because I'm at 17 minutes. Need to move to college. The Eagles versus the Packers. And you know I watched this game, so I know all the details. All the details. So, Green Bay, Jordan Love was 20 for 33, 212 yards, no touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. The score was 22-10. 10. Josh Jacobs had 81 yards for a touchdown. He was the only one that was really showing up big time. The Eagles were stumping them when it came to the game in totality. They were way more physical. Nolan Smith hit the guard in the shoulder, gave him a stinger. He was out for the game. Romeo Doubs came back on his head with that Guardian cap. They say he's supposed to help, but he already had a concussion early in this year. But he went out the game for a concussion. Jaden Reed went out the game. Eagles was just physical. The start of the game, kick return. Burks popped the kick returner, got the fumble. Eagles went down there and scored. It was just the Eagles were way more physical. What I told y'all, you need to start listening to me. What I told y'all was, and that's exactly what Green Bay tried to do. They tried to establish the run with Josh Jacobs, and they couldn't. And then when they couldn't do that, because they got them little bitty wide receivers, them 5'9" and 6 feet wide receivers out there running the routes, he has to have time to throw the ball, and he didn't. And then if he don't have time to throw the ball, they're going to throw screens at the line of scrimmage or behind the line of scrimmage. And they did, and it didn't work. It didn't work. Then Jordan Love, I don't know what he was thinking. He tried to go against the grain and start throwing the ball deep. What are you doing? He almost had 4 interceptions because one of those passes, the wide receiver jumped and it went over his head, and C.J. Gardner-Johnson was behind him. He just didn't catch it because he couldn't see through my man's body as the ball was going to actually come to him. So he could have had 4 interceptions. So that was the tell of that game. It was just Eagles was more physical. The defense showed up to be what I told y'all, number 1 defense. Rushing wise, let's go over to the Eagles side of the ball. Jalen Hurts, 13 for 21, 131. I'm about to get into that. 2 TDs. Saquon Barkley, 119 yards. But I tell you what the defense had. 3 interceptions and a fumble, 4 turnovers. That's how you win in the playoffs. Devontae Smith had 55 yards, 4 catches. Dallas Goedert had 4 catches, 47 yards. Jahan Dotson had 1 catch for the touchdown. And A.J. Brown had 1 catch for 10 yards on the sideline reading the book, man. That boy is hilarious. On the sideline reading the book. But, then going back to the Jalen Hurts thing, I mean, I can go on this 2 different ways. Let me tell you how the Eagles could lose going to the next round playing the Vikings or the Rams. The offense has to be more potent. It wasn't bad, but it has to be more potent on the passing side of the game. And the defenses are not going to get too much more than easier. They're not. You play the Rams, yeah, you can run on the Rams. So if we play the Rams, okay. But if we play Minnesota, it's going to be the same thing. They're going to double team A.J. Brown and make the other wide receivers beat him. Kellen Moore, you got to draft up some better plays. I don't know for the life of me, Kellen Moore, why you keep putting A.J. Brown in the slot and he running dead routes. What's a dead route? Well, he just run into the coverage. Why are you doing that? Put him back on the outside. And then when you had him on the outside, especially and 15 yards away from the end zone, Jalen Hurts throwing the ball somewhere. Hey, Kellen, in his head, because you talk to him, throw the ball to A.J. Brown. You see him out there by himself, throw the ball to A.J. Brown. Come on now. We're not just going to be able to win all the time off the strength of our defense and Saquon Barkley. They lock Saquon Barkley up. Throw the ball. Throw the ball. Kellen Moore, you and Jalen and the wide receivers need to work on what happened, why we couldn't get open, what was they doing, because they're going to do the same thing in the next round. Watch. The same thing. And if we play the Minnesota Vikings, it will be a problem. So get it together. ASAP. Rocky. That's that. Let's go to the Jay-Z thing. I'd like to mix it up. Do some real life issues. So, Jay-Z, this is just an update. He filed a motion. He filed another motion that the lawyer did grant him to file this time. This was filed in December. This is probably either late December or January. I'm going to read basically what it is. The crux of it is the lawyer Bugsby picked his case up and didn't do his due diligence to make sure that this woman was telling the truth. And now Jay-Z's team did a good job of pointing that out. They pointed out things that I said in my last time I covered this, and then they pointed out some new things that I didn't even know. So the new things that I didn't even know, the lady saying that a limousine driver, she walked up to the limousine driver, and all this stuff I'm saying is allegedly. Don't want to be sued. I'm just putting out what was said. The limousine driver she approached that took her to the after party. You can see at the TMZ, the limousine drivers were fully secured by cops and nobody could approach them. There was like a gate railing with the fans in front of the street where the limousines were at, but they were not approachable by random citizens. They wasn't. So they said that was an inefficiency. She also said that she's seen a Jumbotron outside of the VMAs. There was no Jumbotron. It was actually people performing on the second floor of that building that had the VMAs. So that was inadequate. And all the stuff that everybody should know. The daddy said he did not recall picking her up. That's something that he would not remember. The gas station thing, she said she got dropped off to, or she walked to, or something like that. I think that's what it was. They said it wasn't no gas station for more than 20 miles, if not more miles than that. I just don't got it all the way around, but I know at least a minimum 20 miles. She couldn't have walked to no gas station that quick. Then what else was it? Jay-Z was at an after party in the club that he was seen. Puffy was at another after party, a different after party in the club with J-Lo, and he was seen. So with all that being said, now they have filed a motion for it to be dismissed, and they're filing sanctions on Bugsby because for you to come out and put a case and put this case out here, knowing that all this stuff was accessible for you to get to challenge her on what happened, and you didn't, and you came out here and you did this, and they're saying you doing all of this. so quick, so rash, and you tearing up people's lives, households, reputation. They said Jay-Z kids got to hear about this and all of that. Like, you shouldn't just be out here to do that. And then once it's all over, everything good without no penalty to you. So now they're doing a sanction on him, a monetary sanction. I don't know how much it's going to be, but they're saying if it gets granted, he might have to pay a fine. And you know what I'm saying? This, and there's Jay-Z's team is saying this will deter him and other lawyers to stop doing this in the future, just bringing up cases and doing that. So, and like I said again, this is all alleged. You can go read it for yourself. Just pull it up, Google Jay-Z case updates, and you will see it for yourself. I'm not making up anything, and I actually listened to this on the YouTube law little thing that be covering all the cases last week. So my spiel on that is, hey, once the truth come out, once the lawyer decide on his case, if that is true, Busby deserve it. Busby deserve it. I'm gonna say, think about this with everybody in the world, male or female. If this was to happen to you, it ain't got to be a celebrity or nothing. You could just be a regular Joe Blow. If you went through this turmoil and you was going through court and you dealing with all of this, even if it is a civil case and you're not going to jail, let's say you potentially could be going to jail if they filed a case early, and you found out that you was innocent, defamation of character is what we going for immediately for the plaintiff. And secondly, if I could get back at the lawyer with some motions and some monetary sanctions, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. Especially when you got everything in your face that you can go see that a lot of this stuff just don't add up, and you could have dismissed this on your own. A polygraph test doesn't. If you just pass it, doesn't mean that actually happened. Because she can pass the polygraph test if she can pass it. So my spiel is, if it's found out that it needs to be dismissed because it was inadequate factual information, then Jay-Z need to do whatever he needs to do to them. Flat out. Flat out. So that's my spiel on that. I ain't gonna get into it too deep. I know people want to go crazy. No. I'm just going off what is said, what is seen, and what happens throughout this case. I'm not going through any of no feelings. I'm not being biased. Yes, Jay-Z, love the man music to death. My idol as a kid, but when it's all said and done, I'm following it step by step throughout the case. And as I'm hearing what I'm hearing that's being said, that's what I'm basing my judgment off of. That's all I got on that. College playoffs. Let's go to that real quick. The first game was Notre Dame versus Penn State last Thursday. Notre Dame won at the end of the game by a field goal, 27-24. That was a good game. It didn't start off good. It started off dead, completely dead. And then in the second half, a lightning rod hit them. They scored 0 points in the first quarter, scored 13 points collectively in the second quarter. Third quarter, they scored 7 points, and then in the fourth quarter, they scored 31 points. 31 points in the fourth quarter. So it was spectacular at the end. Going to the player stats on the Penn State side of the ball, Drew Aller was 12 for 23, 135 yards with one interception, no touchdowns. Nicholas Singleton had 84 yards. Katron Allen had 82 yards. Singleton had 3 touchdowns. So the running backs did what they were supposed to do. Tyler Warren had 75 yards receiving for 6 catches. Nobody else really had nothing too worth mentioning. And it was just the story of they ran it, because like I said, the game was 24-27. So it's not like one side really completely dominated. But what you can see from the stats don't show you on that game, Drew Aller can't throw the ball. And I had them pick to win. He couldn't throw the ball. I thought Riley Leonard was going to have an issue throwing it. Riley was threading that boy. He was threading that boy. It was Drew Aller. He couldn't throw the ball. He could not throw the ball. So, that's that. On the Notre Dame side of it, Riley Leonard was 15-23, 223 yards, 1 TD, and he had 2 interceptions. But because Drew Aller and them couldn't do nothing with the ball, that's why he won with them 2 turnovers. Jeremiah Love had 45 yards. Riley Leonard had 35 yards. They both had a touchdown. On the receiving side of things, Jaden Greathouse had 7 catches for 105 yards, 1 touchdown. Anais Williams had 66 yards. Mitchell Evans had 58 yards. And Jordan Faison had 25 yards. So he threw the ball. When they needed to throw the ball, they threw the ball. The tail of the tape, time of possession was dead even, 29 minutes to 30 minutes. Interceptions thrown was 2-1. Notre Dame threw 2. Penn State threw 1. There was no fumble losses. Penalty yardage was basically about the same. The Penn State punted the ball 5 times to Notre Dame's 4. And on third down efficiency, Penn State was 3 for 11. Notre Dame was 11 for 17. Penn State was 2 for 2 on fourth down. So, like I said, rushing, Penn State won. Passing, Notre Dame won. Total yards, Notre Dame had it. And that was the tail of the tape. The next game when Notre Dame faced Ohio State, Notre Dame has a defense that carries. It's one of the best defenses in college football league, NCAA. But Ohio State has a $20 million roster that's primarily on offense, and they have a good defense as well. So Riley Leonard is going to have to do the same thing, and the coach is going to have to keep that game. Freeman going to have to keep that game close. He keep that game close, he can win. But if Ohio State come out and they go crazy, it's going to be a long day for Notre Dame. Ohio State needs to figure out what they're going to do if Notre Dame covers Jeremiah Smith like Texas did, because he didn't really do too much, and I was upset about that. So let's go to that next game. Ohio State versus Texas, 28-14. Texas side of the ball, Quinn Ewers was 23 for 39, 283, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Wisner had 46 yards rushing. Everybody else didn't have too much of nothing in the playoffs. On the Ohio State side of the ball, Will Howard was 20 for 33, 289, 1 TD, 1 interception. Travion Henderson had 42 yards. Junkins had 36 yards, 2 touchdowns. Carnell Tate had 87 yards. Travion Henderson had 75 yards receiving. Imaj Ibuka, 51 yards receiving. G. Scott, 30 yards receiving. Quinshawn Junkins, 22 yards receiving. Will Carmack, I want to say this is what his name, 21 yards. And Jeremiah Smith, 3 yards. 3 yards. Unless you're going to get the same collective receiving yards in the next game against Notre Dame, y'all better figure out a way to get Jeremiah Smith that ball. I better figure it, because Notre Dame defense is good, just as good as Texas. But Texas left a lot to be desired with covering the second and the third and the fourth option. That's why they basically lost that 28-14. Then they couldn't score no points. So Ohio State, that's all I really got for them for how they could lose against Notre Dame. And I said already what Notre Dame needs to do. But it was a good game. First game, it was an all right game. The second game, that's really all I got today. Tomorrow, I will be covering the Zaniyah Harris issue. For those who don't know, in Detroit, Michigan, this girl was killed, and she was in a relationship with, I don't even want to call it a relationship. She was subject to being mentally deprived and coerced to be having some engagements, sexual engagements with a guy that was way old enough to be her daddy. She was just a teenager. So I will be covering that tomorrow. Reason why I ain't covering it today is because I really want to listen to what the judge had to say. I really don't like hearing sick things, but I know on the channel I got to cover stuff. So I will listen to it tonight as I'm doing my homework for tomorrow's video. This is episode 19. Tomorrow will be 20. But I will cover that tomorrow and give it a little bit of time tomorrow covering it, because it's sick nonetheless. But that's all I'll do with that. But congratulations, NFL. Congratulations, National the College Football League. NBA is just crazy as how y'all just don't got no press. Adam Silver, man, you need to call Roger Goodell and figure out something, man, because it's kind of sad that y'all ain't getting no press. Nothing, man. Nothing. I heard some stuff about was that the Timberwolves? Anthony Edwards had something going on over the weekend, but that's about it. But I'll look tonight and see how the NBA been doing, because I like to cover everybody. But with that being said, I'm Philly Will. Hold on, let me turn it around. I'm Philly Will all day, every day, and twice on Sundays. And I'm out.